yeah, we are testing the waters of this channel. We're gonna do something a little different. You've normally seen me review food and be funny, and I'm still gonna be funny, but we're doing something a little different today. We're gonna be talking about something that I've been passionate about for many, many years, and I'm not talking about happy pills. I am referring to Five Nights at Freddy's, specifically the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's, because I feel like, and I know everybody and their mother has made a video about the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's. Matt Pat made a fucking empire out of it. But I wanted to do this because something new, and I don't have any food ideas for the time being. I don't have anything extravagant. But for those that need maybe a bit of a refresher, I don't know why you would. It's a globally renowned franchise. Five Nights at Freddy's was made by Scott Cawthon in the year 2014, and it was fucking massive. I mean, I was in middle school when this shit first came out, and oh boy, that set my fucking autism brain on fire, because I was like, well, you know, because we only had the first game at the time. I'm like, well, what's this about? And what's the bite? And what happened to the man on the phone? Several years passed by, and we got FNAF 2, and FNAF 3, and FNAF 4, then Sister Location, then FNAF World, then FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. Most recently, I believe we got some VR shit, and then of course we had the infamous, security breach, and we are at a point now where this franchise is ubiquitous when it comes to, gaming and culture. Been so many memes about it, and I wanted to throw my hat in there and join a little bit of a craze, because I have my own theory as to the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's. Before you ask, there's going to be shit posting in this, but let's get to kind of the backstory here. Let's go into the key players of the story. Now, the key players of the story, there's not many, but essentially, you're going to need to know about William Afton, Henry Emily, Henry's daughter Charlotte, Michael Afton, Evan Afton, Elizabeth Afton. Those are really your key figures here, plus 5 kids that we'll get into later. Essentially, from what we can piece together, and this is my interpretation, Five Nights at Freddy's, the lore begins sometime perhaps in the early 70s, when William Afton and Henry Emily decide they're going to open a children's entertainment pizza time theater restaurant, a la Chuck E. Cheese, Rock-afire Explosion, that particular Gray Point area. And they decide they're going to name it not Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, they're going to name it Fredbear's Family Diner. That's right, it was a diner at first. They build some animatronics, but eventually they decide we're going to do something different. We're going to have a hybrid of a normal animatronic and a mascot costume that you can put on at will. William was thinking 4 light years ahead and 5 chess pieces fucking ahead as well, because he invented the spring lock suits. Made 2 of them. There was Freddy and Bonnie. Of course, they are now known as Spring Freddy and Spring Bonnie, and this shit sold like fucking hotcakes. The children, I think, loved these things. I mean, they had pizza, and they had arcade games. Well, it was the 1970s. They had a few arcade, probably Pong. It's probably it. They only had Pong. But the business is growing, and everything's kind of bougie. It's going good. Until about 1983. Now, this is where it goes into complete mindfuck territory. Mostly because William Afton has 3 children. He has Michael, Elizabeth, and Evan. Now, for some unknown reason, Evan is scared of his father's creations. Now, by 1983, more animatronics have been introduced. You know, we had Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy. We had all these fucking people. The stars. All the stars are here. But Evan was scared of them. And we really don't know why, but it seems that William Afton thought, hey, if he stays away from it, he'll be safe. For some ungodly reason, he decides, I'm going to tell my oldest son to bully my youngest son. And that's not a good, not a good parenting decision. Not a good thing. So Michael Afton begins to bully Evan. He is particularly afraid of the Fredbear animatronic. I don't know why. And this kid's got nightmares going on. He's seeing shit. And it all kind of comes to a head at a birthday party. I believe Evan's birthday party, specifically, when Michael and his little shit-ass friends decide, we're going to commit a crime. And they decide to put Evan in the mouth of the Fredbear animatronic. And the Fredbear animatronic bites down on him like a fucking gusher. His head explodes. He doesn't die. In fact, he's in a coma. Now, what I didn't mention is that Evan had a little Fredbear plushie doll with a microphone in it. I believe that's William talking to his son William's a weird fucking guy. You'll see that later. Essentially what happens is Evan dies. And William Afton is furious with Michael. Even though he told Michael to bully Evan, he's furious with him. That's kind of some ass-backwards logic as far as I'm concerned. William realizes that his son's soul, in some fucking form or fashion, has found a way to possess the Springlock Freddy suit. The Fredbear suit. And he thinks this is incredible. So what he decides to do, because I guess he just lost a kid, he's kind of going through the motions right now. Maybe he's not really been a full dozen of eggs all of his life. He decides, I'm going to build an animatronic with the sole purpose of killing a child and making it possess it. Well, this is not a good thing, because eventually William's daughter, Elizabeth, she falls in love with this animatronic. It's called Circus Baby. And William Afton opens a new place, Circus Baby's Pizza World. First day, Elizabeth's like, I want to see it. And William's like, no, fuck off. Well, when William is away, Elizabeth goes up to it, and it's a nice looking animatronic. It kind of looks like Chapel Roan, but we're going to carry on. And this fucking thing demolishes Elizabeth Afton. It scoops her up. It puts her in the chest. The bitch is dead. She's crushed like a Nestle's Crunch bar. No go. Well, William Afton did this to himself. However, he is now gone fucking crazy. Now, Henry Emily, who was in the beginning of this, has been seeing all this happen. He saw the first tragedy with Evan. Now he's seen this with Elizabeth. He basically just says, William, we can't do this anymore, man. Now you done this for real. So, you get on out. William Afton gets expelled from the Fazbear Company. Now, Henry Emily has a little daughter named Charlotte, if you will. William Afton decides that it is in his best judgment to commit fucking homicide once again. Because one day at the pizzeria, Charlotte's having a great time. It's the 80s, the housing market's up. Prince is on fire, Michael Jackson's fucking doing cool shit. And William Afton pulls up in a fucking sweet-ass purple Mustang and murders her. And leaves her body outside of the pizzeria. Now, what I didn't mention before is Henry Emily, also an accomplished robotics expert, built this thing called the Puppet. It is a puppet. And this thing's purpose was to protect Henry's daughter. The puppet failed. Charlotte is laying there in the alley behind Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And it's just, she's dead. Charlie's soul possesses the puppet because the puppet gets caught in the rain. It's all moldy and crusty. It passes away. And now this puppet is hell-bent on revenge. She wants to fucking kill William Afton. William Afton's not done yet. Before Five Nights at Freddy's 2 in 1987, at a random, probably the first Freddy Fazbear's location, William Afton goes on a murderous rampage. And he kills 5 children. I cannot remember their names. I'll put them on the screen now for your distinction. But he kills them, and they go on to possess the original Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Fredbear, who will now be known as Golden Freddy. Side note, forgot to mention this. Charlie, who possesses the puppet, was the one that decided to put all the stuff in the animatronics. So there you go. So after this horrific incident, the police can't find him. William Afton cannot be caught. This man's like O.J. Simpson. He killed these kids. Everybody knows it. But he can't be caught. They decide they're going to rebrand Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. It's a brand new location. Now we come to FNAF 2. 1987, a great year for movies and entertainment. Not so good for the Night Guard. Jeremy Fitzgerald is the Night Guard. And these new animatronics that they've put in this new establishment are built with this technology that can sense criminals and predators and what have you. Now, for some reason, they see Jeremy Fitzgerald as a threat, so every night they come and try to fucking kill him. Okay, over the course of the FNAF 2 week, the police finally decide, they've come to the conclusion it was William Afton who put on his yellow bunny suit that he wore back at Fredbear's, and he murdered these 5 kids at the old location, but they still can't find the body. Spoiler alert, they're stuffed inside the old animatronics. And throughout the week, the investigation begins, and it happens, and Jeremy Fitzgerald is trying to defend himself. He survives until the end of the week. The Mangle animatronic, which is a mangled Foxy, bites Jeremy Fitzgerald's frontal lobe right out of his fucking skull.
Was that the bite of 87?
And he lived. So this incident obviously spells the end of the new rebranded location, because now these new animatronics are associated with a fucking horrible deed that happened. William Afton is investigated by the police during the week of this, but they can't find any evidence. They know he was in the bunny suit because he probably snuck in and wore the bunny suit. But so some time passes. Now FNAF 1 is now what we're going to talk about, the very first FNAF game. Now, we don't know where exactly it takes place. I've seen some say 1993. I've seen some people say 1989. So we're going to say in between those years. From in between the years of 1989 to 1993, the FNAF 1 location opens. They take the withered animatronics with the dead kids inside. And they basically, they update them. Those are the ones that we know now. Like the classic fucking quartet. That particular week, a gentleman by the name Mike Schmidt, who also may or may not be the guard that took over after Jeremy Fitzgerald got bit at FNAF 2, starts working. The popular fan theory is that this is Michael Afton, who is now more grown up, realizing all these crimes, and is now trying to investigate everything that is happening surrounding his father. During the FNAF 1 week, a few things happen. The phone man, who's been there since FNAF 2, dies, gets fucking killed in his office. And Michael encounters the spirit of Golden Freddy being possessed by 2 children, Cassidy and his own brother Evan. So when you're playing the game and see it's me, it's me, it's me, it's me, because his brother is seeing him. And he's resentful because his brother stuck him in a fucking animatronic's mouth and murdered him. So he gets through the week. He's then terminated for some kind of odor. So after the events of FNAF 1, and Michael Afton is fired, the location goes for a few more years before eventually something happens while they're about to demolish the fucking place. William Afton sneaks back into the location, dismantles the animatronics with the remains inside, and he does this one by one until one night he goes back for the final time. He does it, but all the spirits come out. They corner him in a room, and we know what happens next. Play the clip. William Afton gets Nestle crunched to fucking death by the Springlock suit. He is now known as Springtrap. Now, after this, Michael Afton, who is still trying to figure out everything, goes to the secret underground bunker that is holding all of the circus animatronics, the fun times. And he goes through hell there. That's what he does. He goes through absolute hell. He is fucking cuckooed out of his mind. He eventually gets scooped. He gets scooped by this machine. And some remains are put inside of him. He's a skin suit, basically. These are the souls of the children that were killed by William Afton. So, Michael Afton is now fucked up royally. And eventually, his body is decomposing. And the remains split off and go to the sewer. Michael Afton still lives. The remains of these kids, now one collective being, is known as Nanners. Circus Baby is also wandering around on her own. Now, for many years, nothing happens because William Afton, in his fucking Springlock suit, was sealed up in a back room until about, I would say, 2023. When he gets out and finds out that for some ungodly reason, some fucking local kids decide to open up a place called Fazbear's Fright, where they're trying to find old FNAF props because they want to recreate all the mysteries about the place. Well, in the back alley one day, they find Springtrap, the husk of William Afton. They bring him into the establishment. And we're not quite sure who the night guard is for FNAF 3, but let's make an assumption that it is Michael Afton. So he encounters his father once more, along with some nightmare hallucinations. And by the end of it, he decides he cannot live with the fact that this is still going on. He burns the place to the ground, including his dead dad. Fazbear's Frights is no more, but William Afton lives. And so some more years pass by. And then Henry Emily, after many years of trying to run this business, seeing it fail, comes back, opens a new pizza restaurant, and assembles, with the help of the player who is also Michael Afton, they assemble Nanners, Circus Baby, and Springtrap, and the puppet. Now every key player in this story is in one place. And Michael Afton must now survive this. But by the end of it, and one badass monologue later, Henry Emily reveals it was all a setup. That this is going to end one way or another. It ends tonight. And so it did. Michael Afton chooses to stay in this building because the building burns down, destroying these animatronics, finally freeing the souls. Now it can all come to an end. But that's not where the story ends. The final tale in our mainline journey now comes to the ultimate custom night. Where the vengeful spirit of Golden Freddy, who, keep in mind, is being possessed by Cassidy and William's own son Evan, conjure up nightmarish apparitions of most every animatronic that you faced. And William Afton is then forced to spend the rest of his days in eternal damnation, going through what everybody else went through. That is the FNAF lore.